Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Thank you for being an awesome pledgehammer on Patreon, the Alpha Kenny Body Slam. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Stacked News. I am Chopper Pete Quinnell. Today's top stories include main roster stars being upset with NXT and Survivor Series, an update on the Corey Graves and Mauro Ranallo situation, two major NXT stars being injured, and I'll be going through the top headlines from last night's episodes of NXT and AEW, including debuts, title defenses, and more. Press the timestamps in the video description below to be taken to any of those right now. But first things first, happy Thanksgiving to all our American viewers. Go fill yourselves with turkey and cranberries. I don't know what you guys have for Thanksgiving, but be thankful anyway. You know what I'm thankful for? Being able to provide you guys with the news. So let's do just that. In a shocking turn of events on Sunday, NXT actually walked away with the W when matched up against both Raw and SmackDown at Survivor Series. This was received greatly by the crowd and fans alike, with Shayna Baszler, Keith Lee, Pete Dunne, Adam Cole, and to a degree Rhea Ripley all coming away looking much better than when they went in, especially in the eyes of the casual fans. However, it seems now that despite the impossible happening and NXT triumphing over the main roster may not have been all that happy about it. Tom Collahue of Sportskeeda reported that, while many in the red and blue locker rooms believe this has been good for business and have been vocally happy to put over their fellows, there are quite a few people who feel that NXT's ascension has negatively impacted the perception of what was previously termed the main roster. Sources indicate that some talent have concerns about a lack of screen time, similar to when the wildcard rule was in operation. I have been told that Survivor Series was a particular low for some members of the roster. It is true that in the build to Survivor Series, certain talent had significantly less screen time due to invasion angles and Survivor Series storylines needing to be furthered. So it seems that the main roster talent in question weren't upset necessarily about putting NXT over, but more about receiving less screen time and tarnishing the main roster's credibility in the process. It's pretty clear to see exactly why NXT won at Survivor Series, in order to further their momentum and try to give them a boost in the ratings they desired, with them hoping to maintain their lead over AEW Dynamite. Hopefully now that Survivor Series is over, we can begin with each brand furthering their own storylines and not cross-brand stories. And Triple H has previously said that after Survivor Series, the brands will be more defined. This was off to a great start when Raw's Akira Tozawa wrestled on NXT last night, but considering the only time NXT has beaten AEW Dynamite in the ratings so far was when there was an open invitation for the main roster to join them. If the ratings slip back under AEW again, could we see the main roster freely travel to NXT and vice versa? What more measures will Vince and Triple H use to ensure NXT beats AEW in the ratings? And will this then upset the main roster talent more if they continue to be overshadowed by NXT talent? While this whole AEW NXT war is going on, there appears to be some more conflict that isn't quite resolved yet within WWE itself, with Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves. And now there's been an update on the situation. This situation between Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves has certainly been an interesting one. For a brief recap of the story so far, during NXT Takeover War Games on Saturday, Corey Graves tweeted out saying, "I know you wouldn't know it, but there's actually a WWE Hall of Famer and a former Ring of Honor champion on commentary. I'd imagine they have a lot to offer," insinuating that Mauro dominated the commentary booth and didn't give the others a chance to speak. When someone asked how many Chicago rap references Mauro had made, Corey responded with, "Far, far too many." These tweets seemingly led to Mauro Ranallo deactivating his Twitter, and he subsequently did not announce any matches at Survivor Series or at last night's NXT. The reason given for his absence at Survivor Series was that he blew out his voice from excitement at Takeover, but now having missed NXT 2, becoming apparent that that isn't the case. Corey has since apologized for his tweets on his After the Bell podcast, stating, "This past Saturday during the Takeover War Games event, I sent out a tweet. It was an unpopular opinion, as I often do with the intention of just stirring up a little controversy, maybe having something fun to talk about on TV or here on the show. It was maybe not the most professional way to go about things, and it was never meant to offend or disrespect or disparage anybody. That was never my intention. If it was taken as such, I apologize deeply. That was not my intention. I would never intentionally cause anybody undue stress, especially a co-worker, so I apologize. In an update to this, Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet has stated that Graves planned on bringing up the tweets in a joking manner at Survivor Series when he and Mauro will be commentating together to further build the brand supremacy angle. So he made some tweets that could be taken quite offensively just to have something to talk about on commentary with Mauro. I mean, I would have thought that the match they'd be commentating in front of would have been enough, but that's just me. Speaking of matches, weak segue. And on last night's episode of NXT, an injury was seemingly picked up on Bobby Fish. Minor NXT spoilers incoming, by the way, but I won't be revealing any major results until later in the video. In a pre-announced match, Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic teamed up to take on Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish of the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team Championships. However, right before an ad break, there was a spot where Keith Lee threw O'Reilly and Fish onto each other on the floor outside the ring. After the ad break, Roderick Strong had replaced Fish in the match and was wrestling in street clothes. It was said by the commentary team that during the ad break, NXT General Manager William Regal announced that Strong would be replacing Fish due to medical reasons. It was later then said that Lee had injured Fish earlier in the match. Luckily, this doesn't appear to be anything major, as while WWE haven't released an official statement on the matter, PW Insider is reporting that Fish was seen walking around backstage after the incident and he seemed to be okay. Hopefully this means this will lead into some sort of storyline, or this was just a minor injury that prevented Fish from working the match last night, but with a bit of rest we'll see him back in tip-top shape. Best of luck, Bobby Fish. But Bobby Fish isn't the only NXT talent working with an injury right now, but who could the other one be?
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Damian Priest. It's Damian Priest. It's being reported via Wrestling Inc. that Damian Priest actually suffered a few cracked ribs during his NXT Takeover War Games triple threat match against Pete Dunne and Killian Dane. This then suggests that Priest worked the 5-on-5-on-5 Men's Survivor Series match with the cracked ribs, and if so, he hid it very well. This does, however, seem much more like a kayfabe injury due to the vagueness of a few cracked ribs, just to display the general brutality of the match rather than a specific injury picked up by Priest. However, if the injury is legitimate, then we at WrestleTalk would like to wish Damian Priest the speediest of recoveries. But now, before we get into the NXT and AEW headline recap, there's some important business to attend to. Survivor Series was the culmination of Season 3 of Wrestle League, WrestleTalk's Predictions League, which you can also join in with over on our Patreon page. I got screwed, and as such, I have lost this season. For the full details, check out the WrestleTalk live review of Raw, where all the shenanigans went down. As is tradition, the loser must perform a music video punishment, and that's me this time. So we've got a poll to determine which song I'll be performing. These were suggested by our lovely $25 and above pledge hammers on Patreon, so vote in the poll above my head right now to let us know what you want to see me perform. You can choose from, let's just see what they've given me here. It's written down on here what we got. Keith Lee, Limitless. Bask in His Glory. Bask in His Glory. Street Profits, Bring the Swag. I bring the swag like nobody can. Don't mean to brag. What about it? Yeah. I'm sure that's supposed to rhyme when you actually perform it properly. Tyler Breeze, gorgeous. Is it my eyes? When you look at me. They are so gorgeous. They'll set you free. Undertaker, American Badass theme. You've done it now. You've gone and made a big mistake. You know, that one. And finally, The Rock, Pie. It's tough to be The Rock. No, shut your mouth. It's really tough to be The Rock. So yeah, those are your options. Vote in the poll above to see me perform any of those, but probably with an actual performance rather than just me, reading the lyrics. So go vote, do the thing. Music video punishment. Woo! And now let's get into the weekly NXT and AEW review headline recap storyline news, or the rolls right off the tongue. As always, I'll be starting with AEW, so if you don't want AEW spoilers but want to hear about NXT, use the timestamps in the description below to jump ahead right now. AEW spoilers, they're coming in 3, 2, 1. CM Punk appeared on Dynamite. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. AEW had a few major talking points coming out of this week's episode of Dynamite, chief of which was Chris Jericho has his own champagne, and guess what it's called? It's a little bit of the bubbly, because of course it is. This was part of Jericho's celebration segment, which all went over hugely with the Chicago crowd. Elsewhere on the show, a new tag team debuted called The Butcher and The Blade, who attacked Cody. They were accompanied by Ali in a Playboy bunny outfit, so is it the 3 Bs? The Butcher, The Blade, and The Bunny? Who knows? And finally, as advertised last week, Jericho defended his AEW championship against Scorpio Sky, with him successfully retaining the strap after a really fun match. After the bell, however, Jon Moxley's music hit, and he stood in the crowd as the show went off the air. New challenger for Jericho, perhaps? Let us know what you thought of AEW by pressing the I above my head and voting in the poll, where you can choose from All Elite, AEW some middle of the roads, SC 2 out of 5, and What the Buck. And now we move over to NXT, so once again, if you don't want NXT spoilers, now's the time to turn away from the video and watch some other great WrestleTalk content. NXT spoilers coming in 3, 2, 1. CM Punk appeared on NXT again. Kidding. Just kidding. First things first came the NXT Tag Team Championship match between the Undisputed Era and Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. As mentioned earlier in this video, Bobby Fish seemed to pick up an injury during this match and was replaced with Roderick Strong using the Freebird rule. Strong and O'Reilly retained their belts, with Keith Lee hitting the greatest pounce you will ever see in your life on Adam Cole, who came out to run interference. This distraction, however, allowed the Era to pick up the win on Dijakovic. Lio Rush retained his NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Akira Tozawa in an insane match, including a spot where Tozawa German suplex Rush from the apron to the floor. Yeah, you heard me right. Rush hit 2 final hours for the win. The main event of the show was Finn Balor versus Tommaso Ciampa, with both men claiming rights to the NXT title. Cole again ran distraction, allowing Balor to pick up the win over Ciampa. However, when Cole threw up the Undisputed Era sign at Balor, Balor threw up the finger guns, and then Pele kicked Adam Cole in the head. Balor will not be joining the Undisputed Era. Interesting dynamics. I like it. Let us know what you thought of NXT. Man, there's a lot of polls today, by pressing the I above my head once again, where you can choose from an EST NXT, Undisputedly Good, The Finest, 2 out of 5 live, and Cameron Grimes' hat. Have CM Punk's WWE plans been revealed? Press the video to the right to find out more, and the video below that to find out about Vince McMahon being upset with Survivor Series. A special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of whom you see scrolling below me right now. I've been Chopper P. Cornell, and that was wrestling.